right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Willie Roux and Kwagga Smith. Raise your hands for questions.
Afternoon, guys. Craig Ray from Daily Maverick. Just 4 years ago, I suppose you went in as the underdogs into the final, and making the final was kind of an achievement in itself. This year, you're the defending champions. Is there a different feeling in the build-up this week than there was 4 years ago?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, I think there were a lot of expectations from other people that we won't make past the quarterfinals. So I think for us being in a final was obviously special, but fighting through the quarterfinal and the semi-final was also special for us. But I think this is the one that's important. It's going to be a big match on Saturday, and we're really looking forward to that.
Sorry, if I could just follow up. I mean, Rassie, when he took the job, always said 2023 was the target. 2019 happened, which is great. But has any of the thinking, you are now unable to go for the target, but has the talk been any different this week around that, completing the job that was set out 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. I think they set that goal a long time ago, like you said. But also there were a lot of processes that needs to be completed before we could get to this final. So we achieved those and got here, and now it's the one that counts. So we have to make it count. It's going to be a tough one against New Zealand. We know that. But we're happy to be there, and we're going to give it our best.
Kwagga and Willie, Jan de Koninge. Talk us through the emotional. I mean, we had 2 really big highs, 1-point wins, and it was really intense, both games. And then coming down and starting all over preparing for this. How do you get yourself back up to that emotional level? And how's it the mood in the camp at the moment?
Yeah, I think the emotion for the last 2 weeks was pretty high. My friends and everyone sends me messages after the games, and their heart rate is 200. So the emotion is very high all over the world, and for us as well. But I think when we step off the field, when you go to bed that night and you wake up the next morning, it's the next job. Then you start all over. It's a new process. Like this week, it's a World Cup final week. So yeah, everyone's just switched on for that. So that high is gone now. It's now just focus on one job.
Hi, Willie. Dan Schofield from The Telegraph. A couple of questions. Firstly, can you sum up what Felix Jones' impact has been on the Springboks over the last few years, and maybe what you would say his sort of point of difference is as a coach?
Yeah, his work ethic. I don't think I've ever seen him without his laptop. Just the way he works and how he talks with us and how he's involved, and our attack. He helps us with the attack, the backline, the strikes, all of that. He's unbelievable coach, and what's a privilege to work with him. And I think the Springboks are really going to miss him. So yeah, I was just fortunate to have to work with him.
And secondly, I just want to take you back to the end of the semi-final. There was an incident between you and Owen Farrell. Can you just describe it from your recollections?
Mate, I think no, it was just emotion. I think I had the same emotion as everyone back home. I was excited. The margins in those big games are so small. I just jumped up of emotion, of happiness as we just got through a World Cup semi-final, and there was no disrespect to any of the English players. I think they thought there was, and I immediately told them there wasn't, and then it was stopped. So there was nothing about that.
Thanks.
Hey, Kwagga, can I ask you a similar question about Felix and the impact he's had on you guys?
Yeah, yes. Felix is an amazing coach and person also. But I think just his attention to detail, I think he's one of the guys that really spends hours and hours and hours on footage going through stuff. And I think all of us as Springboks are better players because of him, because he looks so much into the small detail. And he'll tell you that and try and make you a better player. And that, yeah, we can just say thank you and appreciate it from him because he's a really good coach.
Can either of you give me an example of something that he's picked out about your own game, maybe, that you didn't think about before that has changed and made you better? Willie first, maybe.
So if I don't want to give something away, but if I pass to the one side, I tend to fall away, so it looks forward. So it's just about running forward and continue and moving forward. Some simple example like that.
Yeah, and for me, I think you always think you got a good pass until he takes footage out and say, listen, this is how you need to do it. And also sometimes when you're catching, to give yourself a bit more time on the ball. He helped us a lot on that, to catch early and to give yourself half a second more time on the ball to make a decision.
Can I just ask a broader question too? You won the last World Cup, world champions, won the Lions Tour 2021 in another World Cup final. Do you think the Springboks get the respect they deserve for all of those achievements from the wider world?
Yeah, we don't play for that, for people to respect us. I think we play for each other and we play for South Africa so they can be proud of us. So for us, I think achieving those goals that we set up for ourselves were great. We got another one coming up this weekend, and we just want to play for each other and also play for our country so they can be proud and they can be proud Springbok supporters.
Willie, Television New Zealand, you mentioned no disrespect from you guys towards England. How much respect, on the flip side, is there for New Zealand and New Zealand rugby?
No, there's always respect. I think the rivalry goes back a long time, and the games that's been played against each other is always, it's hard fought, and then after the game you can see the guys, they gave it all. So there's definitely a lot of respect between the Springboks and the All Blacks.
You would imagine visiting each other's dressing rooms again after Saturday night?
I would say, yeah, there's a battle first, and then you see what happens, and then I think afterwards, yeah, definitely, I think that can happen.
There seems to be there seems to be fewer scuffles on the field these days between the All Blacks and the Springboks.
Yeah, it's just a hard-out battle out there. There's no friends when you're on the field. I think that happens when the game is done and the whistle is blown, and then all of that comes out.
Changed ever since Bucky's retired?
Hi, Rob from The Guardian over here. How much encouragement do you take from that game at Twickenham when you beat the All Blacks? I wonder how, it seems a long time ago now, I'm sure, but just wonder how much encouragement you both take from that.
Yeah, I think if you look at both the games that we played this year against each other, I think the one in New Zealand, they really played well. And the one at Twickenham, they got a red card, so they were down to 14 men at a stage. So we know, like, each team has played well against the other team, but this weekend is the one that counts. I think this is the most important one out of the city this year. So we're really looking forward, and we know it's going to be an epic battle. Up front also for us as forwards, it's going to be physical. But yeah, we're excited for it, and it's a great challenge.
Kwagga, how much do you personally relish the physical confrontation that you get when you play the All Blacks?
Yeah, for me, I've been playing against the All Blacks in all forms. I mean, I played under 20s against them when Artie played for them, and then I played 7s against them, and now 15s also. So for me, I think, like we said, there's a lot of respect between each other, and we know we're going to bring out the best in each other. So for me, playing against the All Blacks is just an honor, and I know it's going to be physical, but it gets me up, and I'm excited for that.
And Willie, if you think back to Ellis Park last year, All Blacks, a team very much under pressure, a lot of people sort of writing them off and perhaps expecting a quarter-final exit this time. But is it any surprise to you, the turnaround that the All Blacks have managed, and to see them in a World Cup final again?
Not at all. I don't think you can ever write the All Blacks off, so no surprise at all for them to be in the final. What
would it mean to you to be, one of these teams will win the World Cup for the 4th time? What would it mean for you guys to do it against one of your great rivals?
I think, that would be unbelievable. I think I was 6 years old in 1995, and I can just remember my dad and mom screaming in the house, and I couldn't understand exactly what was going on. But to be able to have a chance to play in the final against them would be amazing. Yeah.
It's your second time, the World Cup final build-up week's the second time you're going through it. Is it any different this time around than it was 4 years ago? More intense, more relaxed, less pressure, more pressure?
No, I think the coaching staff of the Springboks try to keep everything the same. We've got a main program that we follow, and not to make some games bigger and some games smaller, because that's where you fall short. If you sometimes play against lesser of a good team and you think, it's going to be an easy week, and then, so we try to keep everything the same. Obviously, there's a bit more pressure this week, but we try to focus to our process and train the same as what we did.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Kwagga, Dalton Papali said yesterday that they've given their bench name, they've called their bench the Easy Company. That was probably an ode to how effective the Bok bench has been in terms of being called the Bok squad. Just talk us through how critical has been the impact of the bench through the quarterfinals, semifinals, and how critical it will be in the final. And I think just for both of you guys, just talk us through the impact that Jacques Dinabos had since now this is his proper last test with the Springboks.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you looked at the bench, even since 2019, the bench had a massive impact with the Springboks. So it's something that's been building up for years now. And for us, when we're on the bench, we know we got a responsibility to fulfill. And the nice thing is for us, we can watch maybe the first half and see where we falling short as Springboks, so we can know what our job is when we go onto the field and rectify that. But yeah, just playing in the final, we know it's going to be 80 minutes. Maybe it might go to 100 minutes. So you never know. So you know you got to be ready and make sure that you use your opportunity when you get it.
Kwagga, do you have memories of '95?
Nah, I was only 2 years old, so I can't remember much of it. But yeah, obviously I've seen the footage, and my dad obviously told me about it. So yeah, it's just crazy. Having it in South Africa, we're not there now, so it's just as epic playing against New Zealand anywhere in the world.
And it might be too early in the week, but any messages from Sia so far in this build-up about, what this means to the wider country?
Yeah, definitely. I think we all know what it means for South Africa. I think all of our friends are supporting us, and they're just so excited for this weekend. People are making plans to get together to watch the games together. So yeah, we know they stand behind us, and we have to put up a good performance for all of them also.
Bonjour à tous les deux. C'est en français, je crois que vous avez la traduction. You have traduction, I think. Yes. Bonjour, RMC Sport Radio Française. Est-ce que vous pouvez me dire tous les deux ce qu'apporte Rassi à votre équipe? Ah, je vais attendre. You have traduction? Okay, I will do it in English. So, could you tell me, both of you, what Rassi brings to your team now that he's a rugby director? And most of all, could you tell us what did he do or tell during the game against England to reboost you and make you maybe win the game?
Yeah, definitely. I think Rassi is a great coach, and he's very clever in the way that he coaches. And also he's got a lot of experience. I mean, he's also played for the Springboks. So he's really clever in what he sees. And also I think for the England game, he obviously told us bench before the game that it's going to be a massive one for us. But just half-time, he just said to us, listen, this is your game to win. It doesn't help you wait for someone else. This is the bench time to go up and make a difference.
Willie, Rory O'Connor from Irish Independent. You guys seem to have built a bulletproof mentality in the last couple of years. You were there when maybe the mentality wasn't as strong in 16, 17, that kind of time. How has that evolved or been built, and who have been the architects behind it? How do you build that for other teams looking to do
Yeah,
that?
I think 2018 and Rassi and Jacques and them started taking over. We started going back to our strengths, see what we as South Africa is good at in rugby, set piece, kicking game. We just went with that. And then we were evolving from there on up until now. So it's just always about getting better. Yeah, we've been through a lot of tough games, a few games that has tested us. But as a strong squad, not only the 23 that's playing, but the other 10 guys that's training against you, giving you pictures the whole week. And then the staff and everyone else that no one else even sees, how everyone in just squad just buys in to the same plan and for that same goal. Yeah, that's quite special.
Kwagga over here. Joe Porter from RNZ. Just a word on how important the breakdown will be on the weekend and the challenge of beating or getting the best of Artie, Sam and Shannon.
Yeah, definitely. I think the breakdown is always important, but especially against New Zealand, it's a massive thing. We've been working hard on it, but I know they're really good features. So we got to be sharp, and we got to make sure that we keep our own ball. I think they're good players, and I really rate them, but we'll give our best, and we'll also try to get a few turnovers for our side. But yeah, it's going to be an epic battle. Looking forward to it and really excited.
Willie, Will Jordan needs one more try. Will Jordan needs one more try to set a new record at a men's World Cup. How do you stop that happening?
I think that's the 23 that goes out there on Saturday. They all buy into our defense plan, stick to what we think is best. I think we could stop them, everyone from scoring, not just him, stop the All Blacks from scoring. So I think we focused on that. It's just the main job for us on Saturday is our performance and what we can do and what we do best.
What specific threats does Will bring?
Oh no, he's an amazing all-round player. He chips and chase. He can do anything. Scores from anywhere, create something out of nothing. So unbelievable ball player.
We have time for about 2 more questions, guys, if anybody has questions.
Willie, do you draw on the history of the All Blacks in South Africa, the many challenges you've had against each other, the fact that the rivalry is probably the greatest in world rugby? Do you draw on the history of the 95 game, players that have been there and played the All Blacks before? How much of that sort of comes into your motivation this week?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you play against the All Blacks, you always have to be ready, and that's the big game, and especially playing against them in a World Cup final makes it extra special. So it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be an amazing game on Saturday night, and if you get a chance to play, I hope then I can't wait to express yourself and just leave everything out there with no regrets. I think that's going to be it.
Everybody happy? Last question?
Yeah, sure. You were likely to have to score more points against the All Blacks to win this game than you did possibly against England. How do you make sure that you don't go away from your own DNA and the way that you play in search of those points? How do you get that balance right?
Yeah, I think it's a World Cup final. There might not be a lot of points in there, but I think you got to make sure when you get that opportunity to score points that you use it, because there might only be three opportunities without the full game. So I think for us, it's just to stick to what we want to do, stick to our plan. But when that opportunity is there, to make sure we bounce on it and we get those points.
Thanks, Kwagga. Thanks, Willie. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have
Thank
a good
you, guys.
afternoon.